colleagues and friends. Melly here, and I'm inviting for another episode of Matrix Momentum. Again, it must be Wednesday, right? It's 11:30 Mountain Standard Time here, or whatever you might be watching us from. So we're super, super excited to have you guys back in the queue. My fellow Matrix Advisor Group, Matrix here. We're missing one, but he will be with us the next Wednesday. And without further ado, let's quickly do the round around the world, guys. This is what happens when you have amazing, amazing legacy team here. We're having Shay joining us from Dublin, Ireland. And then we're also having here Arvind joining us from Berlin, Germany. And we have Khalid joining us from Saudi Arabia. How are you, gentlemen?
Fantastic. Living the dream, as I always say, Isabella. Always happy, always working hard, always pushing the boundaries. And for me at the moment, by the way, it's working hard, training hard, because I'm getting up to the marathon distance now, training for a few marathons. So it's like full steam ahead for me, but all fun. Love it. Love a challenge.
I love that Irish mentality. Seize the day, make things happen. It seems like you play hard and also work hard, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we're very stubborn in this country. We don't give up.
I want to learn from our fellow Irishmen. And now we're going to hear from our fellow friend that is and colleague in Berlin, Germany. How is everything going on there? I mean, it seems like you're so busy with everything from all these phenomenal posts and things you've been up to. So how is life?
Yeah, thanks. And as Shay mentioned, things are getting better in Europe and Germany in altogether. Pretty much everything is open and they are allowing people to. They're even finally talking about removing the restrictions on the mask, and most of the places where we used to wear masks, it's been no need to wear. And weather was up and down. We had 2 days ago 35 degrees, so everyone was naked. As you know, that Berlin is a city where people love to be naked and full naked. Yeah. So now in the last 2 days it got a little bit chill, and so it's up and down weather. And I think it's the same with every life and their mental and physical and financial status up and down. But that's life.
Berlin, Germany, and in general Europe never cease to surprise. As a fellow European, I have to say that sounds about right. I cannot wait to zip with sports cars through Germany and Dublin and Ireland and have fun. So watch out, guys. See you soon. And now we're going to Riyadh, where is steaming hot and something amazing is cooking over there. So what's cooking in Saudi Arabia?
In fact, everything is beautiful, amazing, positive, shining. Everything is really amazing here. In fact, last week, it was the beginning of the first vaccination for me. I was thinking a lot to take this vaccination for COVID-19, but finally I took it. And I had some challenges because I was hesitated a little bit, but I took it, thanks God. And it was very painful a little bit, but now I'm very good. And I'm so excited because now Saudi Arabia, they open for many countries the boundaries that was closed. Yeah. So I believe that everything will come back very, very soon. That's why I'm very positive, very excited for the coming journey.
That is fantastic. And I'm super happy to hear all this news. And I just wanted to say with full excitement what is going on here in Colorado and United States. I mean, we're also super excited because it's a playtime, it's a showtime, it's outdoor time, but it's also truly genuine connection with friends and family and people that we didn't have a chance to see, and really taking business to the next level. So are we ready to do that?
We are all ready.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. So let's not deviate from this hot topic and why we, of course, always choose with different verticals and dissection of organization, right? Is because we hear you, we acknowledge your questions, we acknowledge your pain points, and we want to tackle them like a pros. So are you guys game for that? So
yeah.
now we wanted to really depict something because we're definitely seeing so much change, right? A lot of things are happening in the growth. A lot of companies were contracted during this time. Instead of growing, they shrunk. They shrunk not only in the revenue but with their people. And now is everybody scratching their head? How can we expect and accelerate our growth? How can we differentiate our game? How can we do better sales? And what sales cycles looks like? That got disrupted big time, didn't it? And at the same time, I was like, what are you doing to market yourself? Are you using old ways or the new ways? So before we go into craze, what is happening? Are you utilizing that? Is everything necessary? And bigger question is, are you taking advantage of quick and simple things and step for the growth? And we have some pros here can answer that, right? And all the way to innovating, transforming, and truly on the end, as a result, capitalizing on this amazing market share. So without further ado, let's start with a question. What are we seeing that is necessary right now? What shifted and what it must do? So Shay, would you like to jump on that one first?
Yeah, sure, Isabella. There's so many drivers in the marketplace at the moment. And what I love, what marketing to me, it's a lovely subject. It really is, because it's transformed so much over the last 10 to 15 years. It's gone from a finger in the air, like which way is the wind blowing, which ad campaign is going to work, to something that's more akin to science and data, and it's turned, we've got so much information now in so many different levels. We need to then, the problem is we have too much data. We really need to sift through that and know what's important. And for me, the big things in the marketplace is customer sentiment. What are people wanting? Because this world has changed so much over the last year with COVID. Everybody's wants have changed. Companies need to be fast knowing what that change is so they can react. They need to be just literally one step behind the marketplace to know to get ahead of the competition, because I guarantee you, all the big players they've got data down to a T. The small players really have to work hard. So for me, Isabella, at this moment in time, is paying attention to the data coming in and being able to sift out these real important, those KPIs, the key ones, not EPIs where it's every PI. Get out the ones that are going to drive your business forward. And that takes time, but you have to start the process. You need to learn what's important for you and your marketplace.
Wow. Mic drop, guys. I don't know where we are done for today. but the reality is, I just want to acknowledge before we jump and respond what just Shay shared. Please, guys, comment, ask questions. We're here to support you. But what he just shared is phenomenal, and it's a gold. I want to also say thank you for everyone showing up, being with us, from Robert to Pandra to Asaf, Marco, and many others. It's so great to see you with us. And of course, our fellow colleague that we miss dearly that could not be with us here today. He's still in recovery, but he will be soon with us. And we cannot say it's great to see his smiling face and tremendous knowledge. My friend, you absolutely missed, and we can't wait to have you back. Okay. So with that in mind, we're having some great emojis and waves. That's fantastic. Thank you, Robert. But we really wanted to expand a little bit more. What just shared? What are your thoughts, Khalid? Because you played so much specifically in this year in that space. So what are your thoughts?
Yes, I love what you raised the point on it, which is how you are differentiating between traditional marketing and the niche marketing. And I believe that the business-to-business B2B environment just realized the importance of that. Because in the past, I would say most companies, they were working like traditional, as Shay said, traditional marketing. But now it comes to niche marketing. This is the real marketing that you need to have. And when it comes to niche marketing, I believe it's all about the messaging. the messaging. Marketing, it's all about messaging. And when it comes to messaging, I ask myself many questions on that. Why great products, they're not selling well? And it comes many things. When I start to reflect, many things came into my mind at this point. It's all about the messaging. It's all about the stories, because you could have the best products, but if the message is not resonating with your right audience and your right customers, it will not sell. So you have to ask yourself the right questions, and where you should position the message, the right message, in the right place for the right customers. Because you have to understand, the real message that you need to convey to your audience, and where your audience are located, and find them, go with the channels, and tell them the message. Because again, I had a story, just a short story. I went for a restaurant before, like 1 year ago, and this restaurant was amazing, really amazing. I ate something, one steak, it was amazing, and value for money, it was worth it. And I asked myself, inside the restaurant itself, it was not utilized at all, like maybe 10% from that. And it was I would say it's the biggest time and the best time. I say that people should be there. It was in the evening, so most people should be there. And I found that there is nobody. And I asked myself, why it's there is no people. And it came into my mind because of marketing. So if you use the marketing techniques rightly, and if you have the brand values, so you need to have the right marketing strategies that bring the right audience to your place. Because once you bring these people to your place, and you have the values for your brand, you will be able to excel and sell more. So the difference between marketing and branding: marketing, it's the process how you can bring the first customer to the first place to make the first purchase. This marketing. But branding, it's more related, I would say, into the values of the brand. So how, if the first customer came for the first time, he will come again and make the second purchase, third purchase, fourth purchase, because of the values of the brand. So it's all about, I would say, niche marketing. It's all about the messaging, how you can craft the story, and how you find your customers, and then marketing will deliver sales. This is what in my thoughts.
I love that, because it's such a great addition to what Shay shared. And I love that you also differentiate marketing and branding here, because both are important. Brand is what we buy into because we expect the quality, right? We expect specific delivery as a result of that brand. But how you market what that value is, it's going to differentiate who you attract and who wants to buy the product. And I'm so curious also, because this is something we see that is disrupting even large companies. The large companies, not just the small businesses, get jumping on, right? So, Arvind, do you mind sharing a little bit, how do you see this disrupted or gave opportunity in so many, again, advisory boards you've been sitting on, from startups to fast-growing companies? Where did you saw some big shift happen?
So I think, yes, as the fundamentals of traditional marketing has been the corporates are following, and then we are in the so a few years ago. So how I don't have a marketing background in education or whatever. So everything that I learned is based on the challenge and that I face. So a few years ago, we got into this idea of crowdfunding for startups, right? So the Kickstarter became the popular platform for startups to go and pitch their product to crowd investors. And but that's not an easy task to ask like hundreds or probably thousands of crowd investors to get you to invest even a small amount in any project. So that's the moment that around 2015 I learned about a thing called performance marketing. So this is a combination of human and machine, or the technologies, to achieve the biggest yield than any other marketing strategies that you can have. So I really spent a lot of years in the last time in the last years to understand what kind of tools and how you actually do performance marketing. So I'll give you one example. What is performance marketing? It's more of a precise and targeted audience marketing. So in generally, people will market like they say, okay, if they send 100,000 emails, and probably 1,000 would which is open it and then 100 would lead, this lead would convert, something like that. But this is like, you just drive over big, very big quantity, and then your lead is converting into something which it's not working anymore in this modern marketing practices. So, for example, I'll give you an analogy. So, if you have an agricultural land, yeah, you have 1 acre. In that 1 acre, maybe one or two or few of these, let's say it's a rice or whatever the plant is getting some pests. So, in the traditional agriculture, what they would do, they would just put pesticides for the complete 1 acre. They won't be able to take care of individual saplings. This is how they do. They just full pesticide to everywhere. That's what the traditional marketing is. It's not precise to the level, it's like super automated. But in a performance marketing, you need to change the same story based on the interest of that target audience. And of course it might lead into a lead or convert into a conversion. Lead might convert, but then you have a different story for different person of the same thing. So recently, I just probably 4 weeks ago, a startup I'm helping to raise investment for their space tech innovation, and they went on crowdfunding, and they didn't have much traction in that. And I asked, did you do any performance marketing? And we don't know what it is. I said that just imagine that the same rocket engine, that the propeller that you're developing, for some people, the technology is interesting, the science behind is interesting. For some people, how it's manufactured is interesting. For some people, sending people or the whole space story is interesting, but they don't understand the other part. For some people, just the whole traction in the space industry, the business, everyone wants to invest in space because it's like really growing. That's interesting. They don't care about how this works. They are interested only. And you need to identify your target audience and that convert create template stories accordingly, and then start pitching it. And they've worked, I think, in the last 4 weeks, and as of now I see that they raised in the last 25 days 360,000 euros.
Wow, that's amazing.
Crowdfunded. And that's exactly the performance marketing. You don't burn the whole farm just to kill a few insects. You just precisely, and even it's a precision. Now we have our Internet of Things and precision agriculture, just pointing exactly to the sapling level. That's how the marketing should also be. So if you don't know how,
sorry, just to add to that, like you said, target your audience with a message, right? Like, here's the thing now, like, you can, with technology, you can actually target individuals in your target audience. So you can create a personalized message through machine learning. And it's a process called real-time interaction management. So say if you have people who are looking for a mortgage, right? Then you can target someone who's a first-time buyer. You can find out, with all the data available online from people can go, well, I know this is a first-time buyer, so I'm just going to send a first-time buyer message to this person. I'm not just going to send a generic message, a first-time buyer message, because they know that. And this is the thing. Marketing is all data. Machine learning now is going to take marketing to the next level. Yes, the same sort of high level, find out what their pains are and give them the pain relief. Yeah, that's the fundamental. But guess what? That's really complicated now, because everyone's a customer. There's the markets are so big. Then you're trying to find the niche in them. You need to get through that sea of information and find out which are the small few that are yours, because it's damn hard. It takes time, and you really need it. And that's a great example that you shared, Arvind, about you need to get out there first and find out what people want. And so you could marketing is not just one thing. There's market intelligence, there's market research, then there's sentiment analysis, there's so many, then there's branding, brand marketing. There's so many different elements that you need to combine before you start doing what you need to do. So you need to understand the why of what you're doing and why they have a pain point. Huge subject.
Yeah, like every technology is for good and bad, and this performance marketing technologies have been badly used by the election campaign. That's how they could target those, the Trump elections, and then you can see they could target like what you like, what you don't like, what you hate about, where do you stop when you scroll, and all that information. All these trackers are crawling, and they use it for different, sentiment analysis, and then they can divert the whole traction. But yeah, that's we should have some form of a regulation on who owns these data. But however, this is a good thing, and there are startups that I know that they allow people to monetize their own internet footprint, so that if their data is used by any of these marketing crawlers and campaign, and you get an incentive if you allow consent, if you give consent to that. So there are also a lot of such technologies allowing, because some people, they don't care. I am like, I'm okay to, I don't have anything to hide. I'm okay if someone is crawling on me. That's not a problem. If they give the consent, you can actually also make a money that every time a crawler is running on your data, you get some incentive. So that's what, it's a technology has both sides. So we need to wisely use it.
I love that you bring in also that additional layer, and you're right. Even larger companies that had in the past traditionally larger marketing and sales budgets, now they're looking, what can we do? Where can we scale up and where can we scale down, right? And what is truly converting? Where the results are. And we're seeing some really interesting trends as a result, right? We're seeing the video is being insanely popular. Great ways to tell the story, as Khalid was mentioning earlier. Great ways to connect with the audience and disseminate your message, but also give that voice and name and flair about the company and what do you do, what do you do not do, which actually any size of the company could leverage and utilize. And it's one of those definitely must have, must do, right? But also supports your brand, supports the branding, supports also opportunity not only to be the all-star in that particular nature or industry or service delivery, but really what I'm seeing here, what you were mentioning, Aravind, it's also convert and retain. A lot of times we are also looking at how do we use analytics for the growth, right? Because right now so many companies don't measure right things, and they're not focusing on that. So do you mind sharing a little bit about that? What you're seeing and that technology can support and save some of those trillions and billions of dollars?
Yeah, so as I mentioned again, that there are a lot of challenges here, but like this amount of data that you need for doing any type of targeted marketing, performance marketing, which you can find it with Facebook data or Google data, and that's definitely available. And but I think like what I missed there is like it's also very much biased data. So you cannot really in every scale that you cannot really believe in everything. It might, for example, like if you look at the data that the algorithm that runs Amazon or like a bank approving loans, they have super biased data. They would just think that, okay, you are an immigrant, so you will not pay the loan. And so it will market differently to different people. So they might market like say that, okay, higher interest rate for those people to avoid they are into this, or like to the people who are they vulnerable, like mainly from people who are a little bit retired or retiring age and have this kind of thing, and that will say, okay, they even they don't need any form of a loan, that would try to sell the loan to them. That's exactly the problem of these the data. But ultimately, I believe that rather than in whatever we use, even if you use data from or like any analytical machine, every marketing department should have some form of a humanitarian or a human aspect to their work, and so that they can always think, okay, whether this is right or wrong, and that's the biggest challenge. How can you involve human perspective in business? It's always has been a challenge for organization.
Very true. Very true. And the reason I wanted us to kind of pivot to the question that we're having here, that is Ahmed asking also in regards to business growth, and how do you really do that, and what our suggestions are. And I feel always the starts with that, like what are end results, right? And ultimately, what data do you have to show you what you need to change and tweak? when you already have established brand, product, services, and obviously how that sales process looks like. So I'm curious, Khalid, what would you suggest for Ahmed to do that, since you're touched so much on the sales side and branding component for the growth, and now we have a back end of the data that helps to drive those decisions?
Sure. I love the question from Said, and I believe some people also stuck in this process. But my humble advice on that point: just shift the mind from the push to pull. How you can play the pool game, and I believe that pool game, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes emotions, it takes everything inside you to play the pool game. What do I mean by pool game? My advice, and I believe that you are solo entrepreneur at the beginning, so you need to take your marketing strategies, or the online marketing that you need to have in your business, into next step. And what do I mean here? You have to create a consistent message and a consistent content that resonate with your target customers. Don't play the push game, and don't play the inbound leads. Just try to come here and pitch people by this is my services, because many people are doing like that thing. If you want to grow your business, my humble advice: work on your personal brand, because
Mm.
once people trust you, and once people build this credibility between you and them, I guarantee you that people will come and ask you about your services. But don't pitch people, don't play the push game, because many people are doing like that. How you can differentiate yourself? And one question before you do anything: how your audience, this question you have to answer it, they will trust you. Why shall I trust you?
Yeah.
You have to show me something, and I believe that you have the values, I'm sure, 100%. That's why I don't want to jump into a conclusion, but why I'm saying this side, because of the picture. If you go into the picture, the profile picture, I would say, uh, if you put just a text, how can I trust you? You can put a text, I need to see that there is a human. And I don't mean any harmful effect side at all. I'm telling you this really from my heart. I want you to move into the next step into for your business. So play the pool game. It takes time. I believe that you have values to be driven. Make consistent message. Content marketing that resonate with your people, build the right audience for people, connect with them, network with them, and I guarantee you, you will take your business to the next level. But don't play the push game.
Mm. And I would, if I may add something to that great
Sure.
message, because that's absolutely spot on. The other thing, again, not knowing too much about what you're doing, so yeah, if you're just starting from a green field right now, like the first is choosing like an industry within, or a sector within the online marketing, about something that you're passionate about, because everybody, you need to have a why, you need to have a purpose. And then, to Khalid's point, when you do go out there and share what it is you want to share, people will see your passion, people will see your why, people will trust you and buy into you. And then when they buy into you, they'll buy from you. It's a journey, but it's so important to get that why in the beginning, and know that it's something that through thick and thin, you'll be able to work hard and keep going because you believe in
I love it, because the personal brand, my advice to
it.
everyone who's listening to us, you should position your personal brand, and anything should be under the tree under you. I would say I am the personal brand. Well, let's take an example for that. The personal brand for Jeff Bezos. This guy, he built an empire called Amazon. He got my point by his name. So this is the power of personal brand. So position yourself, let people trust you, and I guarantee you, you will be able to build empires of businesses with other people, because people connect with people, not with products, with everything. So build this credibility. I guarantee you, you will have many and unlocking a lot of treasures along the way.
That is great. And really, which also segues to a question I want to ask you. And I think this is a great way to also give more value to our audience based on which sectors they're in and what they're trying to accomplish. We also wanted to be able to take advantage where the quickly and simple steps for their growth are, and what do you think that sometimes, even if you're not from the green field, from beautiful backdrop of Ireland, but maybe somewhere in the middle where you had some trajectory, great growth, and then because of COVID, things shifted, and you try now to put a reposition and adjust. or that you already big huge conglomerate, but it's trying to just figure it out again where to scale up and where to scale down. What would be some of those quick simple steps or for that trajectory of the growth?
Yeah, well, for me, Isabella, like if you're talking specifically about what happened last year and it threw everybody off
Yeah.
the boat, right? Like for me, like going back to what Khalid just said there, when you build trust with your customers, they will stick with you as much as they can, and then, yeah, you will have to contract your business. But when you stick with those companies, your goal then is to get feedback from those companies. What do they need now? What will they need in the future? How can you adapt to their needs? And how can you be flexible? Focus on your customer. Get surveys, whatever it is you need to do to get information back from your existing customer base. That's number one, right? Because you need to know. And I'll give an example of that in a minute, why this works really well. But then from there, you go out to the marketplace. But even all the time, Isabella, you need to always have this market intelligence engine working in the background so you can see what's coming. Like you don't have to wait for something to happen. You can predict stuff. That's what macroeconomic scenarios. There's lots of companies who deliver this information. You don't have to collect it. You can get it off companies who sell this information. And it is so important to understand what's going on in your marketplace, what's going on with your customer base, and what's going on with the people in your customer base. So it's not just about the market and the business, it's about the CEO, the COO, what are their pain points? And you can get that information very, very easy now. And this is the engine you need to create in your business always, for good times and bad. These are the things, because they will stir you in the right direction always. And that's a little engine you keep going all the time. And then you'll never go that far off course, or you'll be able to course correct very, very quickly.
Wonderful. Excellent points. Anything to add from Arvind or for you, Khalid, please?
Sure, I would add a little bit on what Shay, but I believe that Shay he covered everything. So I would add, it's all about the story. And if I come back to the elements of the story, how you can, I read like a book which is building a story brand for Donald Miller, and I love that his formula. He created an amazing formula, crazy formula about creating how you can how to create a technical story or any story, and that will make a compelling story and attract your audience. And one of them, it's the first element. It's how the character, which how you position who is the hero on your story, which should be the customer. Most people and most marketing campaigns, they position themselves as the hero. This is the challenge. I need to find my customer to be the hero in my story. Because if I'm not the hero in the story, inside the story, if I'm the customer, I'm not the hero in the story, I will not listen. What I will listen, it's just a noise. This is the first element in that story. So this hero, the second one, has a problem. When you have a problem, I need to stress on the problem. So this customer or this audience will listen to you. When you have a problem, I need to listen. So I know that the problems of the customer, so they need to be engaged. When they understand with my story that there is some challenges and I understand their challenges, they will start listen and they will start to engage with me. The third element, which is the guide. And this is the game. How the company or how the entrepreneur or how whoever who's doing that will position himself as the guide and not the hero. Because the hero, I don't think that there is a movie that has two heroes, only one hero. So how can you position yourself inside the story as the guide? I will help you. I will take you to the places, but I'm not the hero. Because most companies will say, we achieved 1 million, we have achieved the 3 million. I don't care. I don't care about this. What you will help me, how you will help me about that. This is a position as a guide. And the fourth element, it's has a plan, because a guidance without a plan, it's aimless. When I go for a journey inside let's say a zoo or something like that, I have multiple guidance. He comes and tell me, hey, I will take you for a guide, but if you don't have a plan, I will not listen. Where you will go here from to the elephant, and they will take you here, go to Hot Hills, all of this, you will understand because he has a plan. But who come listen, give me $10 or $20, I will take you here. I don't want to listen. But if you have a plan, I will listen to you. This is the fourth element. The fifth one, it's call to action. How you can call to action. How you can help your audience or your customer to go for into action because they're waiting you to guide them, tell them what to do. This one once you have that plan. And this call to action, the sixth element, it's how you can tell them to avoid failure because of your experience, because of your thoughts, because of that. So you can position yourself as a thought leader or a guidance, not the hero. And the last element, it's how you can go take them into the success. So from the beginning till the success, this is the element of the story. That's why I love this book because it can be created any even technical story. If you answer these questions
Yeah.
in a flow, you can create an amazing stories. And these things even is being taken in Hollywood, the movies.
Okay.
Yes, it's a model that is being recognized. It's a blueprint, right? But you have to understand it very well and know how to apply it. And a lot of times people still don't know how to apply it. With that in mind, do you mind repeating one more title? Because we're familiar with the book, but I just want to make sure the audience get a sense of what
Yes.
is the title of the book.
Building a story brand for Donald Miller. It's amazing.
Beautiful.
It's amazing. It helps me even when creating my video content and when I do anything, even presentations, because our mind is flow randomly. When you go, okay, I will make a presentation. I'll put this. But if you move in that flow, in these blueprints, you will make a compelling story that will nail your audience.
Yeah.
Really.
Do you know what I love? Do you know what I love about? And I agree with you. I've read the book as well. I think it's amazing. And you know what I think is the most amazing thing about it, Khalid? You know, it's so natural to tell stories.
Yeah.
We've been telling stories. Where humans are storytellers. We've been since hieroglyphics, since cave paintings. We've been telling stories since the dawn of time. That's what we do. I'll tell you, come to Ireland, we don't stop telling stories. You'll never get a straight answer from us. That's what we do.
Just tell them over the Guinness.
We solve all problems over Guinness. I'll tell you that. But like that's
and be great lame. Sign me up.
Yeah, it's amazing. Power storytellers, and even the first film I recognized this after I read the book, and the old film that I watched years ago was Star Wars, Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. The hero and the guide.
Yes.
It was like, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't see this before.
It's hidden elements because there are some blueprints we don't know. You enjoy it. That's why most the amazing stories, you are enjoying it, but you don't know the blueprints. And
No.
if you focus on each movie, you will find these are the blueprints that they're using it. If you focus you will see these elements for a great story. The story is atomic. The story is always a differentiator between the music, and I love what he said, the music and the noise. It's the same. You have the waves, but it's all about the flow. How can you let people listen? This is the game of the story.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Ara, what are your thoughts on some of simple things that you saw and you advise your clients to adjust their game?
I think I didn't get your question. It was a little bit verbal.
Okay.
Could you say that again?
I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on what do you see some quick things that others can do to adjust when they're trying to either gather new clients or win the sale or just simply tell about their companies, because you're helping so many companies to exactly hone that. So I'm just curious, what do you saw that is something that's very actionable, very easy to implement due to changes that we're seeing today?
Yeah, great. I mean, that's what all the suggestions were given by our fellow guru Khalid, and but yes, to add to what he said, the storytelling and story mapping, they are methodologies. It's not a literal terms. And a lot of people, when they say storytelling, they literally translate. But when you translate design thinking literally, it gives you another meaning. Then it's a term as a design thinking as a methodology. So the same way is a storytelling is a methodology, and people think it's just like sitting around a fire and telling a story. So we have been at my organization, one of my organization, we have been trained by in the last 2 years by Griffith Film University the deputy director of the Griffith Film University, has been training us for the last more than 2 years, I think, on the storytelling, and starting with story mapping and the storytelling, which we apply for solving very fundamental socioeconomic challenges to environmental challenge. So storytelling and story mapping can be applied everywhere. It's not only for specific businesses and to yield money or whatever it is. It can happen in your day-to-day life, even at your home. If you have a challenge with your kid who is not ready to brush, I tell him a story. It's just I saw an insect going there. Can you show? And he's showing like that. It's just So how do you tell engaging story, and that to achieve something? That's what the whole part of the communication, right? So
Yes.
we have been really we have developed the skill, and we have been producing a lot of audiovisual contents and graphic content using this methodology. And since they come from the film background, the Griffith Film University is in Australia, in Melbourne. So they just they support us as a social mission. And that methodology now we have been trying to apply for startups, story mapping and storytelling. Why? Generally in startup, we call it as elevator pitching. You are given only 3 minutes to tell why someone should invest in you.
Yes.
But in that 3 minutes, a lot of people try to put, our market growth by 5 years, we will reach $40 billion. And these are numbers, people cannot affiliate to those numbers easily. So story mapping, so with another friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, a Malaysian company called Labora Story, and then we have been working on this. They also support my organization. With them, we have been working with a lot of startups in Berlin, in Europe, to teach these entrepreneurs about the story mapping and storytelling, so that they can really have an engaging pitch. We even changed that. We don't call it anymore pitch deck. We call it a story deck.
Wow.
And so you're not pitching, you're not selling something, you're telling a story. Even if you look at Dreamspace Academy, we have a story deck.dreamspace Academy. You get to know what our story, what is the challenge, what is the motivation, what is the problem, what is the solution. Like in every movie, right? It starts with a challenge. Hero comes in and hero faces that challenge, and then hero actually solves that challenge, and that works out. And we are helping a lot of organization, and just they have to remember one thing, that 3 minutes is a big number for 3 minutes is a big number for a lot of busy investors, right? What you get is maximum 15 seconds. So how can you tell what you need to tell? That's exactly is the storytelling. And even in the pitch training, we say that never explain a number. If you put that number, just put the number there. People can understand the number. You don't have to explain the number. So tell always your motivation, your problem, and your solution. And that helps, really it helps for a lot of organization. And it can be applied anywhere, in your schools. It can be applied in your community. We are doing a lot of peace building work with our organization, right? So we use storytelling for peace building and reconciliation work. We use storytelling to mitigate hate speech and fake information and misinformation. We use storytelling to even do our technical, like when we have a very technical product, if we want to tell to government without creating an idea that we are not building a weapon or something like that. We use the storytelling methodology and story mapping and storytelling methodology. So there is a methodology. Just don't think that you tell a story like literal meaning. There is a certain methodology, like a design thinking, that if you learn from some experts, you can apply it anywhere.
Blueprints, yes. Exactly.
That is brilliant. And I love from leadership and from executive level also to point out, and you're spot on, we tend to naturally, in general, tell more than maybe anybody need, right? Or audience need. And understanding what audience you're speaking to. Is a small business versus medium or large corporations, where not only executives are busy, but they're also super, super smart. So knowing and how to position that and have a conversation and give just enough of information that they know what they need, people will ask for more. And that's the beauty.
Yes.
And those questions you should expect and anticipate. But if we're assuming what others should know, or need to know and smart when there's so much information, even with a great story and great intention, that we can shoot ourselves in the foot. So it's also the balance. Knowing the personalities you're talking to, what level of organizational power
Very good.
you have, who they are, and then how to position that for. And one of the things that just came to my mind, and I want to ask you with this, which I love what has been so far shared, which brings that component, right? We're constantly innovating, we're constantly transforming on the individual level, but also we're looking how to capitalize, not just financially, how to capitalize on this knowledge, how to capitalize on this power. Because then when we do, others do as well, because we're creating the snowballing effect. So I'm just curious, before we wrap for today, what are some innovative, transformative, capitalizing ways to get this market share now that we're looking holistically for everything that we spoke about so far?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, Isabella. Like, and I think it comes back to what Khalid said earlier on. For me, right, you have to really embody what your business is, right? And
Yes.
then and whatever you say you do what you say. They have to, like, they have to be the one, right? And then, like, what companies are doing now, they're going, well, how can they give back? Like, it's not just about what they do for their businesses, how they serve their communities now. So I'm a big believer in giving back. And then, like, and obviously there's companies that have leverage. They know that if they do really good stuff, that they'll get really good PR and all the rest, and they leverage that for good or bad, right? But if you're true and authentic to what you do, this will stand to you both in your local community and if you're doing it online. And I came across a company, and I can't remember the name of them, but I love the story. What they do is they sell shoes, right, online, and for every pair of
Zappos?
shoes, what?
Zappos? Zappos?
I don't know. I could be like it's a story I read a while ago where for every pair of shoes that they sell, they send a pair of shoes to a third world country. You
That's
know,
yes, that's
is,
Zap.
is it Zappos? Is it?
Yes.
And I just thought that was amazing. You know, and then the reason why that works so well is because the company is doing something good, and then when people buy a pair of shoes, they know they're doing something good. So it's a win-win for their customers and for them. You know, and for third world countries who need those sort of things. And I think doing things like that, you need to go above and beyond in terms of what your service delivery is. And I've always said it, we talk about the wow factor always, but what truly is the wow factor for you in your business and being authentic and giving something back? And there, for me, if you stick to those principles through your, and this is where branding comes in, like if you build them into your brand values and stick to those values, yeah, you're playing the long journey, but the long journey is the one that'll work. Rome wasn't built in a day, you know, and if you're there for the long term, play the long game, you know, invest in yourself and invest in your business, invest in your message, and invest in your communities.
Yeah.
I
It's
love that. I love that. How about you, Khalid?
uh, I'll be very specific if you're talking about the market share. So how can companies gain market share? Am I
Yeah.
right on that point? Okay.
Yes, capitalizing through innovation, transformation, or other lens, whatever you think that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
need to do.
We re-stress on the same point again because I see one of the failures and big failures that most B2B or B2C they're doing in their just gaining share. They take the easiest way. And what do I mean here? In the easiest way, it's giving more promotions, burning the price of the values of the product itself. They see the price index in the market, how it looks like. They look into the competition. The competition is giving, let's say, 20% off, 30% off. They go lower. And just to take market share on that, they don't look into the core focus, which is the brand value. How can you share the brand value? Because at a certain point of time, the value for money, people will see it like price correction. You give more promotions. If let's say $10, now it's $7. When you come back into $10, yes, you take market share, and there is a sellout, more sellout, which is good. I take market share, but how this will look like, how it will affect my brand in the long term, because it's a long term game. It's not a short term game. If you take now market share, good. I will have applause for you. But how this will affect you, you have to have a strategy on that, because this is diluting the value of the brand itself. So thinking about, I see it's not the easiest way. The easiest way is just to give more promotions. place it, give it more intensity, more depth of discounts. But at the end of the day, you're burning your message to the consumer. I would rather on that point grow strategically, understand, resonate the message with your consumer or with your shopper, understand what their needs, and by default, the value for money. If you give them the value, you will take market share without any budgeting or any investment at that point. It takes a time because this needs also leadership. It needs leadership.
Yes.
Easiest way, promotions, but
Yes.
the leaders, they look into the long term, not the short term. This is my point of view.
And I just want to add the collaboration. If we collaborate, even sometimes with competition, specifically during these painful times, that raised the bar. That shows not only phenomenal leadership, healthy approach, but not also just thinking on the bottom line, thinking about ourselves. And when we get those hearts, when we win people's trust, when we win their interest because we save them and help them during the difficult times, those are the automatically translated in that capitalization on the human capital as well as financial capital. So I just want to say that.
Can I add something also in this, what you said on the collaboration? Because this is happening right now after COVID-19. And I see the retailer, they're like vampires right now. They play a very good. I'm serious on that.
They want your money and they're being down with the sales. They need to keep things up, right?
Because what they're doing, they pitch like the market leader, a company that it's the market leader, and they try to force them to give them like high promotions. And once they accept, the flow of the other competitors will go with them. And who is taking this the benefit too? For sure, the consumer. Because who will compensate all of this? The retailer will take his retail margin and back margin. He's okay. But now when there is a sell out too much, he creates more profit, right?
Yes.
Who is paying for this compensation? The company, right? Who is taking the benefit? The consumer. Who is screwed up? The company. You got my point? This is that's why I love what you said, collaboration. When the retailer is, suck the blood of the company, all the companies will flow after it. That's why collaboration, when they understand, when you have a strategic alliance, even with your competition, because at the end of the day, you will be screwed. It's a win-win.
And I love your earlier analogy of restaurant. Just wanted to quickly just to highlight, even if you sell the same type of merchandise, it's a still different brand. And then you may not be the best brand, but you can be the brand that is the best of what you're delivering. That is a huge differentiating factor, and that is the great opportunity. And Ara, I would love to hear, what are your thoughts for our audience to be able to grab on and implement something very quickly?
Yeah, so I think there were a lot of questions also about what is the potential. Sorry, man. So open the.
We're having a visitor who wants to answer.
How are you? Comment ça va?
Okay. Yeah, this song, right? So what I was suggesting, like, when I recently saw that the need for storytelling as a service is growing a lot, and I saw that a lot of companies are creating explanatory videos, either animation or with the people, with short videos for products and the organizations and whatever it is, and that growth, this has been really growing, and especially.
I agree.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one simple market potential of this thing. So in Berlin itself, there are. Hello. Yeah. In Berlin itself, there are 40,000 companies registered every year, right? 40,000 a year, just in a city of one city. So and I know, like, few of my friends' organization called 1 Minute Video. What they do, they help organization to take 1 minute, just a 60-second video of their product or the solutions or so on. And then, as I mentioned, Labora Story is helping with, to 2 weeks kind of design thinking. It starts with the design thinking, story mapping, storytelling, and finally you put all your colleagues together, define your values, what you want to do, and then at the end you have like a 3 minutes video, just 3 minutes, because people don't have time to hear more than 3 minutes about what you sell and what you are, who you are. And it takes 2 weeks of time for the whole team to get to that, and they can use it as a real, it's like a website, but like a 3 minutes video that you can play. And can you imagine that if a city like Berlin just registered 40,000 companies a year, and how much of a market potential around the world, that if you are providing a storytelling as a service, creating just 60-second video of what they are trying to do or sell or whatever, it's a product. So it's a huge market itself.
Wow.
And it's and any entrepreneur here want to start something, just understand and try to do your research and find some, just start with some small medium enterprises, make them a storytelling video, 60 minutes, help them, because most of the time the companies, they don't know how to do it. So that's what you have to provide this as a service, help them get the story and publish it, and then create a content strategy around that. And it's a big business,
I love it what you said, and if you don't mind, I just want to point some interesting data, guys, which blew my mind. I knew that was out there, right? But right now, the power of video, storytelling through the video, they hear you, they see you, and they have that visual stimuli. The fact that we have a 60,000 times faster processing in our brain when we're watching videos versus when we're seeing the text. Imagine how much information we can absorb. And even this is why we're new for us, for our trainers, right, Khalid? When we're doing documenting things virtually, why people also learn, because they can go pause, reply, listen again, take a note, immediately think and put in a practical application. And that's why training in general, and learning and disseminating information through phenomenal storytelling that is timely, that is relevant, and then with that amazing blueprint that our brain just relaxes, doesn't have to fight, doesn't have a conflict. It's easy to understand and flows. It's satisfactory, it's stimulating. Then now brain just fires because it's just so excited, right? And stimulated by it. But this is interesting statistics that I also want to share. Companies that are using the video are 65% more effective maintaining consistent, relevant, and personalized communication with customers and their prospects. That is one of the biggest eye-openers for anybody that did not know that. An easy one to do. Doesn't have to be elaborate and beautiful to a level that Khalid can mastermind and create some amazing videos himself, even though this is the aim, we're shooting for the stars, right? But everybody can start somewhere. Either you're a solo entrepreneur or small business owner, or either you're a large enterprise. So that is amazing, Ara, and amazing, again, power of components that are part of it. So with that in mind, gentlemen, we're on top of our hour for today, and always a lot to share here. But if you have any final thoughts, please go for it, and we will wrap it up for today. And I just want to really, really emphasize how grateful I am for all of you showing up, giving us your time, content, questions. Assam, great to see you. Ahmed, wish you a quick recovery. Hamsi, we cannot wait to have you in studio with us, but great to see you in the background. Kim, great to see you from Dubai with us as well. Saeed, great question. And many others that were able to join us. Sarika, Asaf, Robert, and many others. Marco, thank you so much. Stay guys tuned for more, because we're going to have another epic hot topic for next Wednesday. Cheers.
See you next week.
All right.
Bye-bye.